Annyeong and welcome to Hallyujuku starring Brandon Cooper and myself, Petey Ray. This is episode 65, Petey Won a Hat. Enjoy! Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Hallyujuku. I'm Petey Rave, sounding the best you've ever heard me, and the best you will ever hear me for at least maybe, what's the cost of this? About 4 or 5 years, I'm going to say.
Is it the PR40? I'm going to say it's 4 or something.
Something like that. So some considerable amount of time. Here with me, as always, just as good as you've ever heard him here ever. Brandon Cooper, aka King Kaz. How you doing?
I mean,
Kaz?
I could get closer to my mic, but then I'm also closer to my camera, so this sounds better. But this is not aesthetically pleasing for the people watching. And yes, I said it wrong, so I'm not going to go back and point
just
out
own it.
mistakes.
Aesthetically pleasing. It becomes your word. That's how words are born. People say them.
I'm calling Webster right now. We're putting it in the dictionary.
Yes.
Right next to yellow.
I don't think that's how the alphabet.
No, it's in one of them. It's in one of them. I don't know if it's Webster, but it's in one of them.
I think I'm pretty sure they're alphabetical. But moving on. It's another fantastic episode, a little odd episode, but it's going to be a fun episode. As always, with every edition of Hallyujuku, we start off with what's new with each other. I've got a lot to talk about, but first, I always check with you, Kaz. Kaz, what's new with you?
Nothing. I've just been catching up on all the Korean shows and dramas that I should have been catching up on and we should have been talking about for this show, but we haven't because there's just been a lot of other things going on, a lot of news, a lot of things. Next week, we're going to have a big discussion about the show, The Technician. So I'm catching up on that. Pretty good show so far. Movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, but catching up on that and catching up on just kind of some of the other things I missed. And then music. Because this show is essentially about the music.
It's all about the music. What music has caught your attention this week?
So this week, surprisingly, there was a few things that caught my attention. One of them being this acoustic live version of a song by Molly D, which I'm pretty sure we've had on the show before. But I just thought it was like a really cool kind of thing just to kind of see him do like live and of course, it has the trope that me and PD have talked about time and time again of you're watching it happen. Oh no! What are we watching? Music being made? Yeah,
watching watching the sausage get made. You know.
Yeah, but other than that, I still thought it was pretty fun to see because it is actually something that they kind of did and composed semi-live when they did this. So it's kind of a fun, cool little jam out thing that it looks like they're doing, which has way more production than any kind of jam out thing ever does. But you know, I don't know. I just thought it was fun. I thought it was cool. Molly D is kind of growing on me as a rapper, and I just wanted to include it.
Yeah, it's a really cool little song that like performance video. Yeah, and I like his style. And yeah, I'm pretty sure we talked about him before. And you know, I definitely liked what I saw of him. But moving on to a song that I temporarily forgot about, and I probably would have included, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Go ahead and introduce it.
So we're getting more from MFTB, MFBTY.
My fans better than yours. Or fucking busy.
So this
Tiger
is a song,
Ray.
You know, Yumi Ray, Drunken Tiger, JK, called Bang Diggy Bong Bong.
Bang Diggy Bang Bang.
Yes, it is a silly title, but it is such a fun song. And I'm so glad we're getting more from MFBTY, like Yumi Ray, Drunken Tiger, and Busy. Like it's just so much fun.
Yeah, like freaking Tasha is just the best. Like just as a rapper and as a singer and like just as a personality, and like freaking Tiger JK is just awesome and hilarious. And like the song, and what's really cool, it's like they talked about how this is off the album they're going to come out with called Wonderland. How they said that it's not really a rap project, not strictly speaking a hip hop project. It's actually like their reinvention of K-pop. Like they wanted to make a K-pop record, but their way. And you know, this is less a strictly rap song and more of a, you know, like a pop track or a party track. And they basically like they basically like owned it. And this is just a fantastic banger. Like this is just a freaking fucking awesome banger. Like it's just so much fun to listen to and like dance to and like just bump on your headphones like biggie bang 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 and like, you know, freaking doing the lazy dance. I love they did a hashtag interview where Tiger JK is like, well, I came up with choreography with this. You know, it's got some really nice choreography. It's like and Tasha, of course, being sitting there like, choreography. We talk about choreography. What are you talking about? It's just a fantastic track.
Like I just kind of want to sit and just listen to it again and again. It's such a. I think this is gonna end up being an album review on Hallyujuku. Like we're gonna end up talking about this.
I might depending on when I listen to it, depending on how the quality is, I might include it in, you know, record breakers or whatnot. Like if it's as good as some of this stuff, and you know, I can't predict what the guys will think, but it would definitely be something interesting to discuss on that show for sure. But we could talk about that forever, but we talk about some other cool songs.
Let's talk about some other stuff that I got down here on this list. Our boy, me and Petey, we have a love affection for Zion T, and there's new stuff from Zion T. Zero Gravity from Zion T, released earlier this week. Just Zion T has its best. You know, that R&B sound that he has, the fun kind of, just, I don't know, like it's a fun aesthetic that he has, that kind of he has alone in that Korean music scene.
Yeah.
Really kind of artsy video, but it's kind of what you expect from Zion T. So if you're not ready for that, it can catch you off guard.
Yeah.
But Zion T is definitely somebody, if you're kind of into Korean music and you're always kind of looking for that next thing to kind of learn about and kind of find appealing, Zion T is really, really good for that.
Yeah. Like, it's just such a chill track. Like, it's such a chill, cool, smooth, like, track, and kind of, you can feel, the feels. You can feel a little bit of Zion T's feels. Which, similar to the other track that he released previously, Younghwa Bridge, I believe, which was another kind of cool, like, you know, mood track, kind of a moody, I don't want to say moody, but like, you know, kind of like chill, you know, low tempo, kind of a smooth track. And yeah, it's just, everything we love about Zion T, like in just his style and what he contributes, to other people's tracks and what he comes up with on his own. And the video is really cool. Like it's relatively simple. It's not a complex video, but an interesting video. Just like a simple, you know, imagery, simple, just one person, another person, same room, you know, it keeps it simple. And I think it does it effectively.
Definitely. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, me and Petey have kind of this weird thing where we really like Zion T. He can never he's at the point where he can not do wrong in our eyes. Yeah. So it's hard for us to kind of ever find something bad to say, and we're always kind of going to have the same points when it comes to Zion T.
Yeah, but yeah. Check out the song, the video. Go ahead. But last but not least, what do you got? Yeah,
so I wanted to include some boy band stuff, and I was looking kind of for the names we know, and I came across Hot Shot's Midnight Summer. I remember, I think I know Hot Shot, but I was just like, do I know them or not? And I just couldn't remember, and I didn't have time to look up if we had stuff from them before. So this is Hot Shot, Midnight Summer, and somewhat actually enjoyed this. Like, I kind of liked the beat. It reminds me of something, and I've been racking my brain as to what this beat reminds me of, but I just cannot think for like I just can't. I can't think for my life what it reminds me of.
This is it has a really cool. I think it has a very cool, a very cool club sound, very cool like, sound that I think is reflective. If you want to be kind, and if you want to be mean, you can call it derivative, but it's still like of like what's popular now. At least has been popular, kind of the club tracks and the kind of the anthemic or anthemy in our terms, club tracks, that have been popular. But yeah, it's done really well, and it's a cool track. You know, I don't know if this is going to be on my go-to list, but it's a cool. It's done well. It's done really well. Midnight Sun, some really cool tracks. But yeah, some really cool tracks. All right, so I've been doing a lot.
Yeah,
as you can tell, I'm not in Miami.
What?
I'm not gonna take this over. I'm also just for anybody who's worrying about my financial situation, I did not buy all of this. This is I'm currently in Oakland, California, at the house of one Justin Robert Young of Night Attack fame. I'm in the studio, the famed studio that you see in Night Attack. And this is leg 2. This weekend is WrestleMania weekend, of course, for all the crazy indie wrestling stuff that we're going to cover. Part of all of this travel is why this episode is going to be a day late. Sorry about that. But yeah, I've been doing that. But the main thing, and the thing that concerns us, is South by Southwest music. So a couple of cool things, like so we're going to get into like K-pop Night Out and Japan Night during our Hallyujuku talk segment. So I'll leave that to there. But a couple of like cool things that I want to throw up. I have a new hat. There was a giveaway happening at the K-pop Night Out where you like tweeted a picture of yourself with a bunch of this gear from Moonrock News, rock being ROK. And you know the lady Hannah, you know, if you've seen her on Law of the City, New York, she's a friend of Ailey, but she also is a street teamer for Moonrock News. And they were doing a giveaway, and like, you know, my tweet got favorited, and then like Hannah was in the middle of the show, like saw me and like go, hey, you know, you want a hat? Like, what? What? Cool. Yeah, we said that, you know, if your tweet got favorited, you'll win the hat. Like, oh, okay, cool. Which one do you want? I was like, I want that one. And I picked this one.
Nice.
And it's by, let me see, Profound Aesthetic Company. Apparently that's like a legit streetwear brand that's, you know, doing things. But you know, it's a fun hat. Other things, while I was in Texas, I hit up an Asian market. A much better Asian market that I could find, I could ever find, in Miami. And I bought I have a bag full of snacks. I have a lot of snacks. I also have chapaghetti, which is, if you know, it's the kind of the ramen version of like jjajangmyeon. Which I got to try, and it was pretty fun. But I'm going to try one snack while I'm this, before we get into our music. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull from this, you know, in every week episode, I'm going to pull one thing from this bag of snacks.
A very TMS kind of...
Yeah, I'm ripping off to the morning stream. But you know what?
No, we're not ripping off.
We're paying tribute.
Tribute. Tribute is a good word. Also a pretty good song. One of the only kind of Tenacious D songs I actually like. You want to fight me about it?
Yeah.
You can meet me on Twitter. Meet me in the
At King
streets.
Cavs. It's right there in the corner, right under
I
him.
think it's the only song that is listenable. Let's go.
Whoa. That is debatable. But all right, so the first one that's caught my eye, I'm gonna try out, is simply called Jangya. As in it's awesome. That's just the name is it's awesome. That doesn't describe it at all. I can't quite read what it is. Ingredients. I see a lot of fun ingredients, but you know what? I'm not going to spoil it for myself. I'm going to open it up and try it out. Has a good smell. Get a sniffy sniff.
Now you have to kind of go through this whole description because you got to remember there are people who probably only listen in audio.
Yeah. So what's really interesting? It comes in a little bag. It's from Cosmos, the company. It's a little guy giving a thumbs up. You got these little, you can see the enlarged to show detail picture of the snack itself. It has a picture of a sunflower in the corner, which. I don't know. I'm guessing that plays into the flavor. It looks like a little cup. Oh no, it's a little circle. Has a lot of ridges.
Are we describing sex toys? Food.
Sex toys or food?
Sex toy or food?
There you go. There's a segment. I'm gonna write it down on the idea board that I can find here at the Night Attack headquarters. Sex toy or food?
Yeah, you know what? They could have that segment if they want, because that would get really dark here really quickly.
Really dark. But let me try this out.
Has a good crunch.
Is like, all right. It's crunchy. It's chippy. It has this overall like taste that reminds me of like kettle corn. Very similar to kettle corn, at least that type of sweetness. And overall, there's not really much other flavors other than the kind of a general like corn snacky.
Okay,
that's pretty good. All right, moving on. Other cool things that caught my attention this week: another Korean girls react video.
Petey loves these.
I love these. Specifically, I love me Dimples. My girl Dimples, the star of this show, the star of all of these videos. This is the love of my life. The one I will marry. As soon as she gives me her Kakao Talk info. Korean girls react to One Direction. And it was kind of fun and interesting. Like,
so let's do the for those who don't know, One Direction. No, I don't know who doesn't know, because One Direction is a British pop boy band, very much in the incline to the boy bands, if you're listening to this show, except they're British.
Yeah, and apparently they're also buttery. Which threw a lot of people off, and at this point, a lot made our boy SW Yoon, American Trend, put some captions to help out with his translations, which it meant like greasy or cheesy, but it was odd seeing him say they look buttery. But overall, it's fun. Not a lot of highlights from our girl. Well, a few highlights from my girl, Dimples. But overall, some fun. It was fun seeing them react to the new stuff and realizing that they knew it, and then seeing them see the debut video, like them thinking, "Oh, I don't really know these guys." Them playing the debut video, was like, "Oh yeah, I know that song. That was my ringtone."
I almost had the same not the ringtone part. I just want to let you know, I never had a One Direction ringtone.
Only
I might be a mark for boy bands, but I never had a One Direction ringtone. I want to put that out there. But I almost had a similar reaction in watching this because that first video that they showed, which I guess is a kind of a newer video from them, I hadn't seen One Direction since like their kind of initial debut or whatever, because I only ever hear them on the radio in the car and like kind of in passing and things like that. They're not really a group I sought out. So like seeing them here, I was like, man, what, they got like facial hair and they're kind of creepy and like, what the hell is going on? So like I had this really weird reaction that like made me think like, have they been around longer than I think they have? Were they 12? What's going on here?
and then you realize we're aging, and then you just get sad. But yeah, it was interesting. There's not much to say other than it was another fun video. Another fun, more fun reactions. What a waste of spaghetti. More fun moments. So go check it out. I want to keep supporting this channel because they keep putting out pretty good stuff. But I don't want to. All right. So not to prolong this, go ahead and check out the video. It's an 11-minute long video. We're not going to spend 11 minutes talking about it.
No. We got music to talk about. This is a music show, ostensibly. We got a lot to talk about eventually, but Rat Monster once again trying to make us like him, and I think he's working on me. I think he's winning me over. Rat Monster put out a new track, "Do You," his like just be yourself anthem, and it's actually pretty damn good. Like. The beat is cool and interesting. His flow is really good. The like the lyrics, if you've looked them up translated, are really cool and interesting, and like a little bit more like stuff that he can speak to, like just the idea of do you be yourself. The idea that the certain things aren't considered hip hop enough is ridiculous. Like. Everybody just has their own style. But I want to know, Kaz, what did you think? All right, so I will generally agree with you on everything musically. So now we've been kind of keeping these points, so to speak, on these releases from Rat Monster, right? He's kind of had his try hard. He's had his okay level one. This is the one I put in the category of this is hip hop. This is him making that statement that I can do hip hop. This is the one that I wanted. This is the one that I've been waiting for. This is the one I wanted to see if he could do, and he did it, and he did it well. Because this is not, oh, I'm with Warren G. Oh, I'm with, I'm over here with Yumi Ray and them. Like, it's not, even though he does have a cameo in that other Yumi Ray video that we had earlier.
Yeah, which is fun.
But this is kind of the song that I expected from him. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, for the visual aspect of our show, right? This video doesn't shock us, but this could be a really shocking video for kind of the Korean standards.
Yeah, especially considering he's in a boy band, like in an idol group. I think it's, I don't know, it's a wonder that they're kind of letting him take these kind of risks. For one, it's a lot of shocking visuals. A lot of, interest, a lot of things that might offend some. One thing that I do find offensive, he's the fact that he's another dude in K-pop that does not know that that's a side address microphone. For fuck's sake. Seriously, stop singing to the top of that thing. I know, I get it. You want to have the old Tammy microphone. But you sing into the side. You see where all the grates are? That's how your voice gets through. But that aside,
one step at a time.
I think it works really well. Like the style of it works really well. The song of it works really well. I think it's interesting that they're giving him that much leeway. They must really, really trust him and his fan base.
Well, I guess in a sense, you can look at and this becomes our kind of our control in a sense, right? You always kind of go back to Zico, right?
Yeah.
Zico has carte blanche where he is,
Yeah.
because he can do Tough Cookie, promote Tough Cookie, and that hardcore boasting and some of the other hardcore things that he has also released, and turn around and go promote her, and promote, the boy band in the same week or whatever. Yeah. And for them, it is almost two separate things in that sense, And I think they're taking that very similar approach here, where it's you go do that. That is you. That is only going to be representative of you. This is not going to be representative of Bongtown. Yeah. And almost to a certain degree, even Bongtown's inception is more inclined to what Rat Monster is doing now than what Bongtown is doing now, because they kind of lightened up and went more boy bandy than what they kind of what their original concept was.
Though I wouldn't say they were in any way edgy. I think it was like we're rebellious teenagers and parents don't understand. And it's like where they were more like that, more than this. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely understandable. Like, it is cool to kind of see somebody that has the talent and drive to kind of be a central creative force, and for himself and his group being given that kind of leeway, for all that we can credit, him for all that. So it's interesting. I will say the one last thing I'll say that the progression with Rat Monster, the Warren G song was like, okay. Mm-hmm. The Awakening was like, okay, and then like this song was like, okay, all right, okay. So yeah. I think that's basically how I can sum up my journey with Rat Monster. That's still a dumb name. Ratmon. But yeah. But speaking of really cool hip hop, we have a release from a really cool, interesting rapper by the name of P-Type. Mm-hmm. P-Type is somebody that I've seen a couple times before on different occasions. Appear on different tracks, and I think a couple of ciphers. I think a cipher or two or whatnot. But this was and here and there. This was a track that he released like just a few days ago. I want to say like 6 days ago, this week. And it's, for one thing, a couple of notable things. It's a really cool track with an interesting beat, and P-Type just has a really cool, like, really interesting flow that kind of draws you in. And the other cool thing is that it features a very kind of out of nowhere cameo or feature spot by the Barbarettes, who we're going to talk about in our Hallyujuku Talk segment. Almost kind of like, he wanted a beat that has that old school soul sample, and he decided to just create his own old school soul sample and get himself an old school Korean soul sound group to do it for him in Korean, which is kind of clever, kind of a clever way to go about that. But yeah, this is a really cool track. What did you think, Kaz?
I don't know. I found it really interesting as well. Like I liked a lot about it. Like I loved the kind of the hook and stuff by the Barbarettes. I thought that was really cool. Like I liked that a lot. It caught me off guard when I first heard that. but I really, really enjoyed it. I will agree with you about all the things that you said about P-Type. His voice is really interesting. It pulls you in. I kind of love the simple complexity of the video as well.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It's really simple, but there are there are just enough complex elements about it to make it interesting.
Yeah.
And it goes along with the song rather well. Like it's not like a vocal for shot kind of thing, but it just kind of goes along with this feel and this vibe that the song is giving you.
Yeah, like that
I thought was really cool and really interesting.
The kind of the feel of like him rapping about his come up, you know, kind of the struggles he went through, or it's, you know, still going through, just as an up and coming rapper, and it's just done really well, and it's just a really cool track. All right, so last but not least, another cool, interesting track by an artist that I've liked before. They just kind of, I guess, just dropped a couple, like, I guess yesterday.
Yesterday, more or less, yeah.
Yeah, and I just got a chance to check it out, and I dug it. It's a K-Will with his newest release, Growing. And it's kind of, you know, a quintessential K-Will joint, kind of a smooth, emotional ballad with R&B elements. It's got your boy from the Reply series, I believe from Reply 1997. Trying to remember which one he was in. No, it was probably 1984. Yeah. I'm gonna go with that. I could look it up, but who cares? But it's a cool song. It's K-Will's voice, which is it's just fantastic.
Tried and true.
You know, he's been around the business for so long, and has been successful for good reason. It's just a really cool song. It's just kind of really smooth and really kind of like it sets a good, cool mood. What did you think, Kaz?
I mean, K-Will is the ballad singer of ballads right now, you know, like, he can do no wrong when he does what he knows how to do. And this is just right up his alley, and he fucking, and I mean, it's a ballad, it's a fucking singy song. So to say he kills it, it's kind of weird, but he kills it. He does really, really well. I thought the video was kind of standard cutesy emotion in every other scene kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like there's some parts that are just way too emotionally attached for me just in the video, because it swings so hard for sometimes from scene to scene. But I still kind of enjoyed it and liked it. But the thing that I'm here for is K-Will, and the K-Will parts are what I enjoy.
Yeah, and it just does it so well. And like you said, the video is cool and interesting. Kind of, it's more or less standard fare in a lot of spots, but it's done well. Like, it's well executed, it's well shot. But yeah, it's just, you know, K-Will's voice. It's all about K-Will's voice. It's just so fantastic. Yeah, you just can't go wrong with it. It's just a fantastic track. I think that's it. We want to finish up the What's New segment so we can get down to the nitty-gritty of what we're talking about. So we're going to have a nice, fun Hallyujuku talk segment on the flip
join
side.
Us, will you? Won't
Join
you?
Us.
Will you?
Will you?
I made the same joke twice. It's okay.
Yeah.
Hallyujuku talks. So part of the whole thing, like we said at the top of the show, of Petey kind of being where he is he went on down to Texas to take part in South by Southwest music festival. And part of going there was the Japan Night Out and the K-pop portion of South by Southwest, which is essentially getting bigger.
Yeah.
It started out relatively small and it's kind of growing into its own thing now because of the awesome K-pop fans out there like us. Yeah, I'm catering. So we're gonna kind of go through Petey's trip and all the music and things and people that he got to meet and see and talk to and kind of all these things. So where do we start, Petey? Where do you want to start in the epicness that was Petey's trip to K-pop Night Out and Japan Night Out?
So I'll start with the fact that I missed out on a Perfume performance, which would have been fun, but that was something else. But B, the fact that in order to attend this event, K-pop Night Out, I had to go to the venue at 2:00 in the afternoon and wait there till 7 p.m.
So what venue is this in the great state of Texas?
It's at the Elysium on 7th and Red River. It's right there at 7th and Red River. Pretty cool spot. It's pretty interesting venue, to say the least. Kind of a quintessential rock club as one would expect, at or just off 6th Street in Austin, Texas. But it was, at the Elysium. Both K-pop Night Out and Japan Night, oddly enough, were in the same space, just on different days. K-pop Night Out was Thursday night. And like I said, I had to be there at 2 p.m., the hottest time of the day.
Yeah. So, I guess, all right, so let's talk about the kind of the setup of what these shows were. Was it kind of just performed back to back by the groups? Was it more structured like the greatest concert you'll ever see? Kind of style. Like what was the style of the setup for the performances?
So, like the actual shows themselves, and both of them pretty much were just kind of just a little festival. It was just a lineup of groups, and they all performed after, they all performed, broke down, the next group set up, they performed, broke down, next group set up, they broke down, set up, rinse and repeat. And that was basically for both shows. It's just, I will have to say, so we'll start with K-pop Night Out. K-pop Night Out was really cool and interesting because there was a lot of crowd there at like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon already. And
did you get to meet a lot of K-pop fans?
I made friends with a couple in line. I saw a lot of people around there. Like I said, I entered to win a hat that I apparently won during the show. Got some stickers and stuff like that. I met one of the Barbarettes.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I saw that picture. It's actually, for those who don't want to have to, follow Petey because you're a fucking bastard. If you go down into the Asian Junkie article that is in our show notes, and you scroll on down here to the comment section, you'll see a big giant Petey face down there with one of the Barbarettes. Awesome.
One is Sinead Wheeler. Which is, she was cool. She was a cool chick. She was the, requisite English speaker of the group. She was kind of the designated English speaker for the group. And Crayon Pop were like this far away from me. Outside.
So how was that? How would let's get this part out of the way.
So let's get the Crayon Pop.
A majority of the reason Petey went there was to be in the same airspace as Crayon Pop, to breathe the air that they breathe.
Yes.
How was the air?
It was sweet, and salty with a little bit of like edge to it. Cause a little, that faint scent of soju because them girls are thugs. They're the thug queens. But it was fantastic. So one of the cool things that happened while we were, we're not even at the show, we're just kind of waiting around, was that Crayon Pop were filming a segment for Be Funny Studios, kind of a video for them. Of course, Be Funny Studios, unless I'm wrong, were the same group that was behind What's Eating Steven Yeun.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they were the same group with that of course featured Steven Yeun and our girl Dada, aka Sundara Park, and they were doing a video for them, and it was kind of super fun, kind of seeing them film the video, and everyone was scrambling to take pictures and whatnot, and like they came out in their outfits, it was super fun, and I took pictures of them. Choa side-eyed me during one of the pictures. I don't know if you saw that picture. It was wonderful. And it was just like, it was so exciting. Like, they're right there. Like, they're right there. Look at it. Look. Ellen. Choa. Wait. Gumi. Soyo. And I was a little silly. I behaved myself while they were there. I will give myself credit. I didn't get goofy. I just calmly took pictures, and waved. I feel I deserve credit for that. But beyond that, once 7-ish rolled around.
Okay.
First of all, of course, they started letting people in. They let in all the badge people because they're special. Because they spent way too much money on us. God, no. Them shits are like $5,000. Fuck that shit. Like, fuck that noise. No. At most, I'd get a freaking wristband. Because those you can get for like a couple hundred, and that'll get you to a bunch of shows. Like that might, if you want to see a lot of shows, that might be worth it. But I'm not an industry insider. I don't need a fucking badge. I don't need to be at the panels. I don't need no. But I was with the plebes in the regular just pay a cover line, which we'll talk about. So yeah, they let in the ones with the badges, let in with the ones with the wristbands. And then they started letting us regular folk in, and it was just a cover charge. And how much? Okay, looking at this lineup, how much would you pay to go in there and see all of this?
Right, so you got Crayon Pop, Epic High, the Barbarettes were on this.
Barbarettes, Hitchhiker.
Showing to Hitchhiker, yeah. I don't know. I guess even in nosebleeds, you would think probably 40 20-40 range.
Like really good seats, like, or like even like at a club, you pay like 50 or 60 for general admission. Yeah. Cover was $20.
Nice.
$20 to see.
Take that, you bastards who spent $300.
Yes. $20 to see Crayon Pop and Epic High. Of course, it also involved 5 hours in the Austin, Texas sun.
Right. Because you said you had to line up at 2 p.m.
Hottest time of the day.
For a show at 7?
7. But it was worth it. And then the night started.
Yeah. So who performed first?
Okay. So
who was our opener?
Yeah, so it started out with a really cool act by the name of Eastern Sidekick. Eastern Sidekick are really cool, like garage rocky, kind of like rock and roll-ish type group that has a really cool sound. And they perform, they just kind of, 2 guitars, a bass, and a drum. It's just cool, like rock and roll sound. And they performed, they were freaking awesome. Like, they had just a really cool, like, tight set. bunch of really cool songs. The singer was cool and like just like jumping around on stage and like being like a rock star and whatnot. Freaking, if I remember correctly, yeah, this was this was the first stage dive of the first 2 days. Well, I guess not so much a stage dive. He found a dude that was wearing a cowboy hat. Asked him to borrow said cowboy hat. So that was one thing. One other thing, he found a dude that was rocking out and enjoying the show and just like, all right, told him to come closer. And then proceeded to like from the stage, wrap his arm around him and jump down on him. And like jumped off the stage and just started rocking out with him with his microphone still singing.
Yeah. Very rock star.
Yeah, very cool. And then, but overall, it was just a really cool, tight set. It was really cool performance. The music was awesome. The songs were performed really well. Like they performed a tight. They were really skilled. Like the song. I don't know what else. I guess I don't know how much else I could describe it. Yeah, it was a lot of really cool moments, a lot of really cool music from them, so the key thing is also that the crowd was into them, and like of course this is a crowd that just got in. They've been waiting for hours, and they're there. And let's be honest, they're there to see Epic High and Crayon Pop,
right.
And that's kind of who they're there for. Like, there was somebody that asking the people if they wanted to send message to a particular act they were coming to see, and pretty much everyone said Epic High. Like, and then maybe some said Crayon Pop. There were some K-pop fans in that crowd.
That's awesome. Yeah,
like there were K-pop fans and there were pop fans. Like there was a little like middle-aged lady that had a jacket. Like a denim jacket with like patches of like every group she's seen live. She had like BAP patch, Big Bang, 21, FX, like every band you can think of. She's apparently seen live, and she has a patch on her like jacket. You could probably see a picture of it if you go to Moonrock News's Twitter, Moonrock News on Twitter. They should have a few pictures, including one of myself doing the V's, and one of that jacket. But yeah, this was a K-pop crowd.
Who was our next?
Act? So before, what I wanted to say was like there were K-pop group, but they instead of kind of like just milling around, not really being interested in this group. They were into the group. They was like, all right, this is pretty cool. This is rocking. And they were supporting them and giving them energy. And equally as much, they were giving energy to the next group, Asian Chair Shot. Asian Chair Shot, like Eastern Sidekick. I know we talked about Eastern Sidekick before. Asian Chair Shot, and I think we've even talked about this song. There's a video that I'm using as an example. But Asian Chair Shot was an interesting trip and an interesting follow-up. Because they were more like psychedelic, more 70s, like psychedelic rock, more, kind of moody, jam rocky, more like The Doors, more of that sound. Well, more like a little bit more progressive, a little bit more like Muse, but without the synths.
Yeah.
Like kind of the Muse, but without the synths, kind of a little bit. And that was really cool and interesting that it kind of brought the crowd into an interesting different mood, and the performance was really cool. The kind of the lead singer being doing his like I'm odd and weird thing, and but it worked really well, and I dug it. Like the guitar work was really cool. The songs were really well done. Like a lot, not as tight a performance, but more loose and like a flowy performance. But overall it worked really well, and it was a really cool like follow up to Eastern Sidekick, and was really cool. It solidified. And you know what? I'll talk about kind of how this how I'll talk about later how this doesn't fit with the K-pop Night Out name, but I'm glad we got this instead of what would fit with the K-pop Night Out name a little bit. But it was a nice different sound and really cool. Like you remember we've talked about Asian Chair Shot before, haven't we?
I think we have. I don't think it was this song that we used, but I want to say we have. Somebody will let us know. Most likely T2T2 will let us know that we never talked about them and that we're idiots. But I'm gonna say we have for now.
Yeah. What? And I have to ask you, seeing these two as like the opening two acts of the K-pop Night Out, what is your reaction to this being how the night begins? These sounds.
I think, like you said, it doesn't fit in with what we know K-pop to be, but K-pop is at this point in life just talking about anything coming from that side of the world that is Korean, you know? And I think it's a lot. I think it's more interesting to have these different sounds and to kind of lead people in with the things you aren't expecting, right? Like, so for the people who are there to see, let's use the marks, for example, right? For the people who are there to only see Crayon Pop, for the people who are there to only see Epic High, very much kind of almost like this Asian Junkie article is laid out, right? Like, you would think the only thing that happened there was Epic High and Crayon Pop, in a sense, you know, because that's kind of all that they really present to you when you scroll through it really quickly. So I feel like for the people there, to give them something different, to give them something that they might not expect, which is almost essentially the idea behind this show that we do, behind Hallyujuku, is to discover those things that aren't just on the surface, you know? Yeah. I find really interesting, and I think it's a really smart thing to do. I loved the fact that Eastern Sidekick was involved in this. You know, I don't know much about Asian Chair Shot, and like you said, it's something really interesting, and now it's something I'm definitely going to check out. But that moment where we kind of found Eastern Sidekick and learned more about them and discovered that music, that's the thing that it's kind of all about. And I think that's the thing that these things should be all about, because sometimes you're going to have the person who comes there who is not a K-pop fan at all, who's being dragged there by their friend. Maybe they're essentially more into rock music, you know, and they know they're going to go see this pop band and they're going to see this hip hop group because that's what their friend's been talking about. And while they're there, they get to see Eastern Sidekick and Asian Chair Shot. Yeah. And they're like, yo, that was awesome. Yeah. What, can we see more of that? Yeah. Like, you know,
and I think those two definitely won over some fans. But definitely the next group won over, I think, the biggest amount of fans. Like, won over more of the fans hard. Yeah. The Barbarettes. The Barbarettes were the group that, like I said, I got to hang out with Shanae and Wheeler outside of the club, because she was around, hanging around promoting and stuff like that. They were absolutely delightful and adorable. And they had the entire crowd in the palm of their hand. They had a full Elysium nightclub, like, energized and ready to just rock out for them.
Nice.
And I can only imagine. There were some people that I could overhear talking about how much they had already liked them. Because, you know, this is a fairly popular, you know, they have their cover of Be My Baby by the Ronettes. That's fairly popular, on YouTube, nearing 1 million views, which is nothing to sneeze at. But I'm going to say that there were quite a few people out there that probably did not know who they were, but the entire crowd was like absolutely just like dancing and, singing on the songs and like rocking out the music, like energizing it. And they played, they rocked it out with their tracks, and they had a great energy. They were fun and adorable and had really fun moments. Like, this was also the performance that spawned that inspired. There was a moment in the crowd where we had a Daehan Minguk chant. You know, the Daehan Minguk. Like
Nice.
it was a amazing moment. It was so much fun. Like one of their songs is called Kimchi, and then they preface it by talking about how there's three things people ask you, or that people ask when you're a visitor in Korea. It's like, do you like bulgogi? Do you know Psy? And then that inspired them to do a little like Gangnam style dance, which was absolutely adorable. While the band played like a little impromptu cover for like 5 seconds, and that was a fun little moment. And then they said, "Do you like kimchi?" And then they played the song, and they had so many great like old, like those classic Americanas tracks, and it was so much fun. Such a fun performance, awesome. And like I said, they won over the crowd like big. Like this was like.
I mean, I could see the Barbarettes doing well, but the way you're saying, like, of all these acts, with them kind of in the center of the openers, and then the acts that everyone is there to see, and to say that they just grabbed that crowd and made it theirs is freaking awesome.
And I love I loved it because that was like I was so glad that they did because. They deserve it because they're just fun and adorable, and I love them. Like they're doing some really great fun songs, and I was just so happy for them. Yeah, everybody go check out the Barbarettes because I love them, I adore them. But moving on to other cool and of course. Go check out. This is, of course, I've talked about many times, like their performance on Immortal Songs, which is fantastic. I'm gonna put that in the show notes. Go check out this stuff. The next interesting act, EE, Big E and Little E, making up EE. They were I think the first really out there performance. Because they're this like wild experimental electronic de-Antwoord stylized, a billion other explorations, hip hop as well, like group that it mixed like they had mixed dance, modern dance and hip hop and like electronic sounds and like really odd, crazy performance art feel to it. Like I don't know how best to describe it. It's just so many really like cool visual elements to it, like all the like Little E and like the two dancers. Well, they had 3 dancers. 2 of the dancers had like a face paint mask that was all like glittery. And then they had like the male dancer that had the face paint paint.
Yeah, I'm checking this out. This is really like kind of weird and cool.
Yeah, like it sounded so cool. The visual elements were so cool. Like the dancers put on some really crazy, awesome, cool performances. Like I'm pulling out like modern dance and like ISOs and like popping and locking and some break dancing and like the one dude was also shirtless and had some like abs, and like you can hear like the high pitched excitement from the crowd. It's like, Ew! So it was like I almost joked like we kind of almost had our own like Magic Mike moment. But yeah, this performance was that took it up into a different level as far as like interesting visuals and interesting music, like. Going from like an Americana to like electronic hip hop weirdness, and it has some really cool tracks. Like they were odd but just super fun, and the performance was just so tight. It was just so good.
Awesome.
Yeah,
like this is definitely like this is something I've never heard of. So this is like totally awesome and cool. Like to kind of see this and hear this, like, and find out what this group is.
Yeah, EE, check them out. They're just a really cool group. I need to make haste. But next up was another thing that I think I was anticipating and not quite knowing what to expect, which is Hitchhiker. A lot of people will remember his video for 11, and a lot of people might know that he's kind of a longtime producer for SM. One of the kind of their people behind the scenes that has worked, on a bunch of tracks for a bunch of their people. And I think nobody really knew what to expect for his live performance. And
right
now I will say that I was spoiled coming into the performance as to what it was going to be, because when Roberto Villegas got a chance to see him perform as an opening act for Perfume on the show the previous night. And he kind of gave me an idea of what to expect, but I wasn't quite sure. And all in all, it was him in kind of a real life version of the suit you see there, like the hazmat space alien suit thing. And he basically DJ'd. He had a DJ setup, which he worked on and fixed before his set in a kind of he had gone out to like check on his setup in a hoodie with a cover for his face, because he's doing the whole I am a secretive electronic producer DJ guy, no one can see my face, he's doing that thing, so it was just okay, whatever. And then he came out in that outfit, which it was that club was hot. Like I don't understand how he didn't just pass out in the middle of like I don't understand how he didn't just like keel over like 15 minutes into his set, or like 10 minutes into his set, but he just kind of DJ'd. He just kind of played with beats and played with sounds, and it was like just basically a club. At that point, it was just a club. Like we were just at the club, just like we were at Ultra or some shit, like just jamming, and we were just like,
nice. I like it.
And it was fantastic, and it was fun and interesting. And I didn't know what to expect, but I was pleasantly surprised by what I got. And then of course, all right, so that was that. And that brings us to, I think, what everybody was there to see, more or less. There's kind of no way around it but to say, like, this is the thing everyone was here to see. Was Crayon Pop and Epic High. Yeah. So let's just get it out there. How was Crayon Pop? Was it everything you expected it to be? It was.
Did you choose your pants?
No. But I peed in a trough, which is an interesting experience. But that that's for another time.
Yeah.
And there was no door to the toilet. There was a wall that only reached like just above your knee when you're sitting down.
Yeah. And
then the edge of the trough. And when I say a trough, I mean an like a sink, but really long one. I don't know if you've ever been to a ballpark.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Right to the front of your knee. So if there were 3 people peeing, somebody was peeing right here, like right here, and you were looking at the back of them, and they knew you were back there taking a dump, and like, all right, but moving on. Crayon Pop.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Crayon Pop. That's what we're here to talk. We're not here to talk about peeing
or pooping. We're talking about popping.
Right.
Crayon popping. Crayon Pop. Oh, I was so excited for this. Everybody was hyped. Everybody had their phones in hand, ready to deploy to get them fan cams, as evidenced by this, ready for their performance. So, Crayon Pop. Before we get into that, Crayon Pop came out and just started right away with Oi. With Oi. And then just played a fantastic set. It was just all the songs that we wanted to hear. It's just fun. It was a great performance. They had mics in hand and were singing, which was fantastic. Which is crazy to say that, but they are kind of a pop group, and they are kind of a ostensibly, at least tangentially, an idol group.
Yeah.
So it is cool to see that from somebody in that spectrum. But it was so much fun, and the Pop Jashis were representing. The fan chants were represented. They were there for sure. Like there was fan chants for all the songs. I mean, except for the new song, because it's the new song. But the fan chants were there, because I had vowed that I was going to fan chant, no matter who was there, no matter if anybody else was fan chanting. But I didn't have to worry, because there were people there representing, and I was there among them. We were loud and proud Pop Jashis. And I believe the girls appreciated that.
Awesome.
And then of course they debuted their new track, FM. I got to listen and watch them perform this track before anybody else on the planet, which was awesome. Like this is just with the thing, and then they did the thing, and then they said the dance, and then did the song, and it was fun. And yeah. The new song was just awesome. The new song is really cool. Like I'm seeing some complaints, and the reason people are complaining is dumb. Because the reason they're complaining is that they're saying, they're saying, you should probably lower your expectations, because it just kind of sounds like a Tiara song. I'm like, there's a lot worse things you can be than a Tiara song. Tiara puts out bangers. Yeah. It's like, come on. And you know what? That's a positive for this. This had so many of the elements because it's Shinsadong Tiger, who has worked with Tiara before, and he brings a lot of the really great elements over to Crayon Pop style. But it's definitely a Crayon Pop style song and dance and style concept. And it's just such a good song. Are you getting a chance to see the fan cam?
Yeah, so I watched all the fan cams earlier while we were kind of where we were talking. There were some moments that you'll notice I'm quiet, and I was kind of watching them earlier. And I don't know, I thought the Crayon Pop sets were really, really good. They looked really tight. They looked really fun. You could tell those dances weren't meant for such a small space. Yes. And they probably had to work on them a little bit, but it looked like it was an amazing time. I was also a couple of moments trying to see if I could see you from this shot area.
I was to the left. I was to the left.
Yeah.
You probably I was not on camera. I was wearing this hat, so you would be able to see me.
From what I saw, like, this looked like an awesome, fun set from Crayon Pop, and it sounded like everybody who was there was really, really into it.
All right. Last but not least, of course, the final act that performed that night was, of course, Epic High.
Can I say something about this article, though?
Yeah.
Somebody is an Epic High mark, because the Epic High set is filmed from beginning to end and posted, like, just kind of exactly like they did the introduction, they did everything else. Whereas the Crayon Pop sets are just kind of the songs, and they're just like, all right,
okay.
But this Epic High set, dude, looks amazing. I watched kind of the introduction and Burj Khalifa, but that introduction looked like it was just so much fun. Oh they God. Just like came out and they were like, "You're going to be hyped because it is fucking Epic High. We know you're here to see us." So from the perspective of being there, how hyped did it get?
Oh, it was hype as fuck. It was hype as fuck. Like, it was just so fantastically fun. Tableau trying to get that soju. It was so much fun. Like it was just a classic hip hop concert. It was just a classic hip hop show. It was just, it's just so much, like the songs were awesome. The performances were awesome. Like, Tableau was able to kind of just hype the crowd. Being able to, consider, like, he played with the crowd, and it was just so much fun. Like, Mythrogen was hilarious. DJ Two Cuts was hilarious when he would just like, he had his moments where he just like jump out in front and start dancing, and like Tableau looking at him like he's gonna beat his ass. Like, it was like, no, stop it. and Two Cuts is like, I don't care.
Play the goddamn music.
Get back there and start. Get back there. He kicks him off the stage at one point, like, which was hilarious. Like, it's just so much fun. Like, Epic High's performance just had me, like, by the end of it, it had me exhausted, soaking wet, and just satisfied. Like, they attacked us with water bottles, which was fun. Like, they're just going hip hop as hell. But it's just so good.
All right. So really quick before we run out of time on our borrowed set, let's kind of go over some of the highlights of Japan Night.
Yes.
For you.
So let's quickly talk about Japan Night, because it's not to be undercut, which is it was a really fun night. So K-pop night was one night. J-pop, not J-pop, because J-pop was not being represented at all. Japan Night. It's their 20th anniversary. This is something that's been going on for a while. Couple of things. It not quite as much like lining up early, but once the show started, it was, I would say, almost as packed as K-pop Night Out. It's just nobody lined up early with an intention of seeing the headliners or anything like that. But it was a $10 cover, so it's like somebody must have done, hey, there's a show of like music for $10. I'm like, okay, cool. And go there and get some drinks and check out the music. But
you want to come watch music? It's only going to cost you $10. Really? All right, I'll come watch.
But yeah, there was definitely, the Japan Night crowd was there representing too as well. So a couple of things, and the really fun part was the MC for the evening. In between sets was none other than one Vincent 404, Roberto Villegas.
Nice.
He was in charge with introducing the acts. He did a fantastic job. I love the man, but he did all of it from the sound tech booth rather than from on stage.
Oh, did he do the radio DJ thing where he's like, our setup is over here, but that setup is over there. So like, hey, okay, turn around.
No, he didn't. He just talked.
Look at me for a second. How you doing?
Yeah, like it was. He just kind of talked. He just kind of and I think Bryce and I think maybe it was Chris Ronan, our buddy Chris Ronan, who joked that it's like he was like the classic strip club setup. Mm-hmm. Where he was up there like next on the stage is Candy. It's like
Candy's from Minnesota and she likes to party. Remember to tip her, guys.
Feed my Frankenstein. I don't know why that is the stripper song that I chose.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think that goes to show that neither one of us have been to a strip club.
I have, and that's the sad thing. I've
only been in one for maybe 30 seconds, but this wasn't a strip club. This was Japan Night.
So it had this one, if you want to talk about a diverse setup, this one had a diverse lineup. Like it started out with, I'm gonna lose the name, because I didn't bother to translate. Dang it. I'm gonna,
live translate.
Mashojo Ninaritai. Mashojo basically whatever, the first half of the part before Madoka Magica, whatever that part of the Madoka Magica. Instead of Madoka Magica, that whole name, put Ni Naritai.
Right.
And that's the name of this group. I'll put it in the caption. They were an odd group to say the least. It was this. Okay, so this was a weird audio visual experience. They had a big sheet on stage that they projected this whole 8-bit imagery stuff on. That here they just use a little TV. And it was the singer, and then there was the female singer.
Mm-hmm.
But not really singer. Who's they have a backstory because apparently the girl was cursed by a witch, so therefore she cannot speak. And that's why but she can sing. But she didn't sing at all during the performance. she was lip syncing, but whatever. But this was this weird punk rocky metal odd the dude was doing new metal screams, and it was okay. it was the kind of the classic this is a really weird thing from Japan. It's from Japan, therefore we understand that it's weird. No, it's just weird.
Weird is weird no matter what. No matter what.
It's just weird and not performed well. And the singer doesn't know how to sing. Also, he looks like the Japanese UJ Suck.
We're gonna get in trouble. What's next on this docket for this show?
So I'll set that aside. It was okay. It had an energy to it, but it's not the best. I did like the mixed media stuff, but they need to be better musicians. But moving on to a group that actually did really cool, a really cool set and actually did impress me. Samurai Dynamites, a really cool there's no videos of that for them on the internet. There's this one that's from 6 years ago, but they were a really fun, impressive mixed genre, really cool pop punk sound. The lead singer plays an accordion and they have a saxophone. But they're really good musicians and the sound is really cool and they're super Japanese. We talked
about
but in all the best ways.
They're super awesome.
They just have a really cool sound. Yeah, I imagine we've talked about them before. They had the whole crowd energized and having fun. At this point, this is where it started to fill in nice and good with the crowd, and they had a fun, energized crowd. And yeah, they definitely impressed me with their sound. It had a cool I don't recognize that guy. I think this is weird because this is a 6-year-old video, and maybe they had different people, but I think he looked differently. But yeah. That Samurai Dynamite's definitely impressed with their sound and had a really great energy. And then they were followed up by just jumping from that to American country music American I keep trying to say Americana country music. I'm here for wrestling, and I have beyond wrestling in the brain. Americana country sound from Pirates Canoe. Okay. They were a previous a previous showcasing act at South by Southwest in a kind of more of a compact group, and they had promised to come back with their full group. And they did, and they came back with their full lineup, their full set. And they were really cool and fun and impressive. The songs were really cool. The song, they just had a nice tight sound. The slide guitar work was really cool. It had just a great mood to it. It was, I think a perfect kind of, an odd follow-up, but a kind of a good calm follow-up, just the kind of the energy of Samurai Dynamite. It had a kind of calming effect, but they were still a fun group, and they had a great sound. And I don't know if he was familiar with it. I think they may have won over our buddy Bryce our buddy Bryce Castillo. He ended up buying their CD and their T-shirt. And like if they had taken credit, I probably would have done the same as well. But yeah, I think they were really cool and really cool and impressive. And then they were followed up with another kind of another shift in sound to the what is described as chill wave. The Fin.
Yeah, I was listening to that. Like I clicked on this earlier, and I really enjoyed this. So, like, how was their live show?
Their live show was really cool. Like it was tight. They performed really well. Like they performed together really well. They was really cohesive. It was really chill. Like, but still kind of cool, and like it was evocative. It was very like 80s evocative. Like it was like had a bit of nostalgia to that as well. Like it was a cool like set, and you kind of could just like groove to it out there in the crowd. Like everybody was just kind of like grooving to it. Yeah, it was really cool. Like I was impressed. Like I walking away from that, I end up thinking like I really want to check this group out. Like just follow them.
This is definitely, like, I'm going to say this now. You're going to hear more from them on Hallyujuku because I am definitely feeling this.
Yeah, like this is just a cool sound. Like the 80s vibe of it with some of the other stuff was just really cool. And then that was followed up with again bringing up Bryce Castillo, our buddy Neshcom, the provider. I should mention the provider now of our theme song and outro music, which I haven't mentioned on the show. But you should check out, if you like our intro and you like our outro, check out Mercury Counter. It is a fantastic record, but from our buddy Nesh Complex.
Awesome.
But this was the group that definitely he was most hyped to see. This duo, Mo Moon. Mo Moon was really good. Like Bryce had been hyping them for a while now, and he'd been mentioning them, and I'd been meaning to check out like their live performances and whatnot, like because they have like they have a monthly live performance on their like YouTube channel that they have like cool. Like, and they do like really cool like covers and whatnot, and they just have a really great like positive sound. Like the biggest thing that I would say about Mo Moon is how much of like their sound, how much of their style is so positive. Like, and then like they do some like dreamy stuff, and then they also did like some of their new songs, which had like more of an electronic influence to it. But like overall, it was just like an uplifting set. It was, everybody was like happy, and like the performance was fun and energetic. Like it just brought everybody up, even for like a group that does a kind of a more mellow sound and more simple sound. It brought everybody up. It still managed to bring everybody up in like in mood and in feel. Like the singer interacted with the audience, and everybody was just having fun. Everybody was like giving back the group energy. The group was giving energy back. Like it was just so much fun. Like the Mo Moon, I am certainly going to keep listening to more Mo Moon. I may go and
I think this now incites us that we have to have Bryce on again to talk about them and explain what is so great about them.
Yes, we need to have Neshcom on the show again, and I will be possibly filling a basket with on Yes Asia full of stuff, including Mo Moon. And then that was followed up by Quorum, which were interesting. There, I can't say that I was terribly moved by them. It was just kind of a, hey, we're like a throwback to the late 70s, early 90s rock and roll, like Van Halen. We're the kind of a odd mix of Van Halen and like late Led Zeppelin and like fucking and like the guitarist wears tight jeans and has long blonde hair and has has a denim jacket with no shirt on, and like the bases, but like but all that, considering all that, they actually were really impressive from a technical standpoint. The guitarist, for his like gimmickiness of his like long blonde hair and his like shirtlessness and whatnot, is a incredibly tight guitarist. The bassist was like just jamming out, like just pulling out bass solos, and like the drummer had like his drum solos, and they were just like, we're just gonna jam out and be crazy and like do solos left and right, which is cool and fun. And I think in a live setting was perfect. I can't say that I'm going to really seek them out, because like I can always just, Led Zeppelin records still are available. And Van Halen.
But it's Japanese. It's different.
Okay.
All right. So what is our last group here?
And then the main event was a fantastic, a fun performance. First of all, it was a super energetic performance. Second of all, it was a second night in a row where the headlining act attacked the crowd with bottled water. And third of all, it was the second night in a row where we had a crowd dive, where the lead singer of this group took it upon herself to actually stage dive. She actually called everybody. It's like, "Hey, get over here! I want to fly." And she just dove back, and she had her guitar in hand, like, and was still like playing, and like they were the bass and the drums on stage were playing, and like. And then she was just on the stage, and then, eventually made it back. And it took her till like, I think the encore to even notice that in all that, her top string got reshifted off axis. Cause I was looking, and this was one of the things I noticed. And she was like tuning her guitar, like, weird. And then she just went on performing. It's like, your string, it's shifted. And then like during the encore, she knows, oh, okay. She did it. She just didn't care. She was just like jamming out. And then they were just a fun group. They just had crazy fun energy. This was the group you want to tell them, like, talk about like a group that was quirky, fun, weird, and had great energy.
Yeah.
That first group, they had all that, but they were kind of sloppy and weird, and their music wasn't great. They were that. Sushi Mamide, I should say. Sushi Mamide. Were that, but they were tight, and they could play music. Like, they could play music, and they were playing live and singing live, and like, it was a better musical performance overall, just in general. Like, just a better musical performance. And it was just so fun and rock and roll. Like, it was just so impressive. And I think it was again, leaving me exhausted, soaking wet, and energized.
Nice.
Just like K-Pop Night Out. I think that is, I think, where you get the comparison between the two nights. But that was a fantastic Japan night.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that essentially wraps up K-Pop Night Out, Japan Night. Any final thoughts on this experience?
All right, so I liked Japan Night is awesome and fun. I love it. It's just what it is, and the creature that it is so great, because it is full on just about here is a bunch of really great music from Japan. All of it, different genres, different styles, different, points of view. You're going to get a great cross section. It is, our buddy Vincent 404 likes to call it the most promoted secret of South by Southwest. Because, and there's a reason that everybody, once they go, they spent all that time. They spent so much time trying to tell people, like, hey, you should check out Japan Night. Hey, you should check out Japan Night. And that was from, I got that from Vincent 404, and for that reason, and what's the main reason that motivated me to go to South by Southwest. Because once I had always been meaning to want to check out Japan Night, and that was the core impetus for me wanting to check out music rather than interactive like I'd done before. And then once K-pop Night Out grew to what it was, it kind of added up to
solidified that that you have to be there for South by Southwest music more than you need to be there for interactive, because this is going to be essentially the thing that you want to be there for.
Yeah,
and even though I guess interactive is
fun because they have the gaming expo, but
medium.
And honestly, it made me realize that I want to do all of it because there's a gaming expo, and then there's this.
Maybe one day when we have that Patreon money for Hallyujuku, and we'll start a Patreon, rolling in fat checks and growing nipple hair, we'll be like, man, just spend 3 weeks in Texas.
Yeah. But yeah, Japan Nite was just fantastic. Great energy, great lineup, and a great cross section of Japanese music. And then K-pop Night Out, I really enjoy what it is growing to. In the article, in the Asian Junkie, the article, they talk about how it they wanted more of a true to K-pop representation, where I kind of disagree. I kind of saw the lineup itself, as I think it would be more, and it actually kind of did have that name with the subtitle being K-pop Night Out. It would be more apt to say that it was Korea Night. And in fact, it was technically, so eventually they had a second show, which I didn't get a chance to go to because it was on the same night as Japan Night. But K-pop Night Out was actually Korea Night 1, K-pop Night Out, and then Korea Night 2 the following night at another place was called Soul Sonic, and that one was more the indie stuff. It had the Solutions, who I love, and a bunch of other acts. I think YB were there maybe, but a bunch of other acts which were fantastic, a bunch of indie acts. So the idea of these of it being Korea Night more than K-pop Night Out, if anything, is something that I think is definitely the right way for them. I think they can have I think the fact that the K-pop establishment is willing to export an act to this, and they have the resources to get a headlining act like Epic High or Crayon Pop or in previous years FX or Hyuna or J Park. They can have a headlining act that they can put on the top of the marquee, and then support that with a great cross-section of different genres, akin to what you get from Japan Night. It's just, that's the right direction right there. Here's your K-pop, but here's some other great Korean music. Here's a great cross-section of Korean music. And I think overall, it's growing in the right direction just in 3 years. This is the third year. I think overall it was a great couple of days of music. I think next year, I want to go because, like I said, if anything, I've said before with cons and I extend it to other things, if anything's worth doing, it's worth doing twice. So I hope to do it again next year. Obviously, next year is my plan to actually fly to Korea. So everything is built off of what can be done after that is set aside and planned out and budgeted. But I'm excited whether I'm attending or not to see where it goes from here, how it expands to being Korea Nights. Night 1 and 2, and it did, if they flesh it out and make it more formalized, where it's they do have the more pop night and then the more indie night, or the headline night and the kind of the cool start, the more indie night, it's going to be cool to see it. And of course, Japan Night lived up to the expectations. It was just fantastic. I think, that's it. I think that ties a nice little bow on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll probably talk about some few other things in next week's show, but I mean, essentially, it everything seems like it just became this more awesome experience. And I mean, I think I have to agree with you that at some point in this ever-growing medium, we're going to have to drop the word pop from K-pop because it encompasses all kinds of things. Because even hip hop is under the pop, and sometimes it just doesn't belong there.
Yeah.
And it just should be Korean music.
Yeah, because like the K-pop, like the show that I experienced, I think I could bring anybody to that show, and they would have been like, "That was a fantastic show. Those were fantastic groups," and they would be impressed because there was something for everybody, and there, it just had a great crossover appeal. And then like Japan Nite is just another fantastic showcase of music that I think I'm going to constantly tell people about. Like, just because, do you like crazy, fun, awesome indie music of different genres? Go see Japan Nite. You're not. It's not. Isn't that hard of a barrier to entry. Like there's going to be something you might like in Japan Nite. There's gold in them there hills, as our buddy Brett Hibbard would say on both nights. And I'm looking forward to how things grow going forward. I'm excited.
Yeah. Maybe next year we'll host K-pop Night Out.
God, maybe. I wish we can bring back a Crayon Pop. Suddenly, there's games where that involve Soil having to hug me. Just all right. Let's end this before I turn into bad things.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again, as always, for enjoying the show known as Hallyujuku. You found this show, so I don't need to tell you how to find this show, but if you want other people to find this show, go over to the little thing in iTunes, rate and star, whatever. I don't know what you do on iTunes because I don't use that shit. But you could do that. You could also go and catch us on Stitcher. And if you just want to show people an awesome place where we collect all of our thoughts, go over to kpoppodcast.com or hallyujuku.com, or just go over to rebelly.net. What is it? .com?
Rebelly.net.
I've confused myself. Oh no, I'm in a box. Rebelly.net to check out all the other shows, such as Record Breakers and the Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast, which I'm pretty sure will have a lot of content coming up in the coming weeks.
Yes. A nice crazy live. We're going to have to try to figure out the schedule, but a crazy live night. But that's it. He's King Kaz. I'm Petey Rave.
About That Me/Petey Rave. About That Me/King Kaz. For all the things that we do that are separate from this on the internet, you can find them there.
Until next time. Hasta los huevos.
Good night. Good luck.
FM.
Anyo and fighting.
Fighting.